Happy Just You Tuesday. It's me, Gianna, and
Hey, it's Shannon.
Shannon's videoing in all the way from the good state of Florida to be with us here today. I'm really excited because Shannon and I had the pleasure of sailing together in early October, which was literally so fun.
It was so much fun. Already ready to go back.
We are obviously very seasoned cruisers, and we are both platinum cruisers on Disney Cruise Line, which means that we've sailed 10 plus cruises. So we have been on a few cruises prior to COVID. So we wanted to talk about the differences between cruising pre-COVID and post-COVID cruising now. Is a little bit different. It's not like hugely different, but we did notice a lot of differences that we wanted to touch on today. So I'm going to throw it over to Shannon so she can name her first difference. Then we're just gonna like go back and forth and talk about the differences that we noticed.
Sure. So I did have a little bit of the insider info. Prior to my sailing, I had a coworker of mine who got to go on a test cruise. And so she had kind of filled me in on some of the big changes. And one of the ones that I was most excited about was the whole process of ordering drinks or like any specialty item like coffees, things like that. In the past, what you would do is put your order in either with a crew member, or like a server, anybody like that. And then you would get the paper bill, sign, add your tip, and move on. Now it's all on your phone. So if you're purchasing a lot of drinks or like if there's a lot of people in your group, they'll ask you your room number and then your names, and then they'll actually put your drinks on your name. So for example, with the cruise with Gianna, if we all went to the Cove Cafe and I ordered a pumpkin spice latte and Gianna ordered a gingerbread latte, each would go on our own like apps, and then you could tip and pay through the app. It was so convenient, so much better than I could have imagined. I think in a weird way, it's probably one of those things that we benefited from. I think it's made the whole process of ordering anything really just so easy. I could definitely see them kind of transitioning into that too, like for merchandise as well. But I did think that was one really cool change, especially like on the beach on Castaway, literally everywhere you went, like that is how you ordered.
Yeah, I totally forgot that there were even paper bills before. Like I didn't even think about what it was before, but you're so right. And it is so much easier and it's very nice. And the updated app it's just amazing. Like it's really amazing what they can do. And it's nice that you can tip right there on your app, and they give you 24 hours before whatever you bought like expires, right? So like you can tip for 24 hours after you purchase said item. So I think that's a nice option and definitely a more convenient option, but it also makes you have to have your phone on you at all times, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because you're wanting to take pictures anyway, but it's just before we used to like leave our phones in the room and we wouldn't even think about them. Now you definitely should have them, but if you don't, it's not a big deal either because like I said, 24 hours.
Yeah, I definitely think the phone in general, like you are just on your phone more on the cruise. I agree. I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing, but really to do anything, to know anything, you have to be on your phone.
Yes. So to take that and like move to a similar point, there's no more physical daily navigator in your room, which is upsetting for me. I like to have the physical copy of the daily navigator, but it has moved to your phone, which is good because you can have everything right there in the palm of your hand. You can look at everything and it's more like tailored to you. I'm sure that it has to do with like who's in your party and what age group they're in. They'll probably just tailor it to your experience. But I do like having the physical copy of the daily navigator. I do like that it's more eco-friendly that it's on the phone, but it was fun to have that like you come into your room at night and it's on the bed and then you know it's happening the next day and it's like the golden Mickeys and things like that. I did like that, but that has also moved to the phone, so that is something different post-COVID.
One thing that I noticed on my sailings was in the past, different ships had different stage shows that they would do throughout the duration of their cruise. So in the past, I believe on the Dream, they did, Beauty and the Beast and the Golden Mickeys. So when I sailed this in October, I was not heartbroken, but pretty sad that the Golden Mickey's was no longer on the Dream. I truthfully don't know if it's like a permanent change, like it's not going to be on there anymore, or if it was a change due to COVID. Something that they did differently as well was on our cruise, they only did Beauty and the Beast. It was a 3-night cruise. They showed Beauty and the Beast twice, and then the empty night or the free night was the Halloween party, whatever. When I went on the 4-night, which was the previous cruise, they did show Believe, so I did get a little bit more, but I think it's a little sad that they aren't doing as much. However, I do understand the change.
One of the other things that I noticed food-wise about the Disney Cruise Line post-COVID is that the little buffet, aka Shannon and I's favorite spot to snack, no longer exists. So if you're not familiar with the little buffet, which is what Shannon and I lovingly call the tiny buffet. Okay, yeah. After the district lounge, before Evolution, these are all good words. There's this small buffet that comes out.
At like 11.
Night. Yeah, and it's like great. It's like jalapeno poppers, some desserts, some cheeses. It's always
some
like
olives.
It's always like perfect nighttime, like little snack. And it was not there during our cruise. And I just wanted to preface as well, because I know Shannon was like talking about, but she went on 2 cruises in October. She went on a 3-night on the Dream and then a 4-night on the Dream. She went on a 3-night with us gals and then a 4-night with her family back to back. So she went on like
reverse.
A whole week. Yes. Oh yes. That's
yes, I did 4 and then 3.
4 and then 3. So she went on like a whole week of cruising, so she knows like a little bit more about like the post-COVID cruise life. But there was no little buffet, so if that's something that you're into, it's not there right now.
If it's something that you're not into, like, I don't know, like, what are you doing? The difference is, since the pandemic, I do think we're like a lot stronger on the 3-night cruise. Just to compare and contrast, the 4-night cruise still had a pirate night, which we did not have a pirate night on our cruise. And I didn't know if that was partly because it was also a Halloween on the high seas, but there was no pirate night. And I'll be honest, the pirate night that I did have on the 4-night cruise, I would hardly call that a pirate night. It was just the pirate menu that was at the restaurants. And I think maybe they did like a show or something, but it wasn't quite like how it used to be, where if you did not dress up like on pirate night, you were a big weirdo. Like, like it was not like that at all. So the lack of the pirate night personally didn't bother me, but I know that's one of the big draws. Because again, at pirate night, they have the huge buffet, like in Cabanas, kind of late night. And that obviously was not the case either.
Another thing that happens post-COVID, which I talked about in my actual cruise vlog, that didn't happen before, is if you're driving to the port, you have to show up when exactly it says on your port arrival time. You get a port arrival time, say it's 11:15. They won't even let you into the parking lot at Port Canaveral until 11:15, right?
Yeah, they were very, very strict on the port arrival times. I had tried for our cruise, our original time was like 2 something. And I had tried to get something earlier because I had read online that you cannot show up early. Like they literally will turn you away. And part of it's because of the COVID testing, and part of it is just the way they distance people onboarding the ship. But it was very strict.
Yeah. So if you do have a specific onboarding time, make sure you honor that. I'm not sure how it works for people who aren't driving to Port Canaveral, but I'm sure it's probably similar. And with that, when you do drive to Port Canaveral, when anybody going on the cruise has to be vaccinated and has to be COVID tested. So you do that when you get to Port Canaveral. So it does take a little bit of time, and you do have to wait to get on the ship. Like you get to Port Canaveral, you wait in the parking lot for like an hour. You're just looking at the ship, waiting to get an email that says, hey, you're clear, you don't have COVID, and then you're allowed to go into Port Canaveral.
The COVID testing process, I think we should expand upon for a minute, because
I'm down with that.
People are like asking me all the time, like what the COVID testing process was like. So it was like this: you drive up in your car, they give you a little baggie of the testing material, so the nose swab and like the little vial and everything. You do it, then they allow you to park, and then you wait for your result. It is kind of scary, just to be quite honest, like knowing that you've spent all this money on a cruise and you want to be able to go and you're like physically there. And I had read these horror stories about people who had literally gotten there, had no symptoms, tested positive, and when you test positive, everybody in your party cannot go. So
I didn't know that.
I don't know if you knew that, but yeah, your whole party can't go. So when we booked our cruise, both with my family and then with the crew, I had said, like, let's pay for insurance because I don't want to get there and then us get turned away. Personally, it made me feel a little safer knowing that everybody going onto the ship was negative and everybody over the age of 18 was vaccinated. So again, that gave me a little bit more peace of mind going into it.
And you do have to wear a mask indoors on the ships currently.
Yes.
Even if you're vaccinated, even if you test negative, everybody wears a mask indoors.
Yeah. And there are times like when you can take it off. I will say, like, if you're taking photos, they don't really like say,
yeah,
put it back on, which I thought was nice. And like at the gym, you could, if you felt comfortable, you could take your mask off. So there were certainly places that you could. I mean, we kept our masks on, like, I would say 90% of the time. The only time we took them off was for photos.
Yes, all good points. It's important to know about the COVID stuff because if I was like a family, I would like be all stressed about that testing situation. But it's so fine. It's so fine.